niyo umubonye igihagararo cye n'umwana w'umusore wareba amaboko ye wareba uko ahagaze n'umusore pe muto cyane ndibwira ko aba Kagame bose bariya nahoze mvuga barya ibyo miliyoni 14 zagasaranganyije aribo babifata abandi bakabaho kuriya nuko nguku iyi niyo uru ni rwo rugero rwiza rwa victim w'ubutegetsi bwa Kagame kandi ni benshi cyane nagerageje gukora imibare naberetse ko class y'aba beneficiary ari imwe gusa ari Kagame n'umurigore we n'abana be n'umukwe wabo n'abuzukuru uyu mwana yitwa Samuel niyo mugabo akomoka Nyaruguru yafashwe na Wazalendo ariko ni ibintu bibabaje ku muntu wari we wese wakumva inkuru umwana aravuga ukuntu yafashwe n'ukuntu bamukubise bati y'imbunda mu mutwe Abazalendo ariko naho bari bakaba bahavuye biruka bose batawanyitse kubera ko babwiye ko hari akadrone kari hejuru kagiye kubatwika aba ni abashoboye gusavayivinga ariko ndagira mu nyumvire aba bana baba bagiye kwiba amabuye gufasha ko baba bagiye gufasha ko Kagame ashobore kwiba amabuye muri cya gihugu bakabahemba ibihumbi 50 by'amanyarwanda na amadolari ngira ngo na amadolari 32 hano ku kwezi bakajya muri iyo riske kugira ngo bibe ibyo biba bize mu gihugu n'umusirikare w'igihugu umusirikare uri professional w'igihugu ariko akagenda muri iyo cover y'igihugu akajya gukora ubujura yibira umukuru w'igihugu of course commander in chief ni ukora nk'ibi ngibi noneho ndagira mu mutekereze mwese muzi byinshi ejo twahoze tuganira ku byo ukuntu Kagame yari yafashe bari abajenerali be akabashyira ari ukabona bameze nk'abamotari neza kibaza iki gihugu abene igihugu batekereza bate ariko mbere yuko tujye no kubene igihugu abene igihugu bo barakandamijwe baratsikamiwe Kagame we yiyumva ate iyo afata miliyoni 14 zose akazigira victim ibyo zakabaye zibona uko bakabaye ibyo bakabaye basaranganya bakabisaranganya ari abantu 9 Kagame na Nyiramongi n'abana be n'umukwe n'abuzukuru babiri bakareba bisaranganya uyu mwana w'umuhungu mubona ukorera 50 uri muri babazarendo hariya bamufashe akarukuka kono bagomba kumwica kono bararasa baba barashe n'abazarendo nabo bamwica tutekereza uriya mwana ejo heza ejo he nahaye icyambere kigaragara ibyo kwiga ntago aziga ko igihe yagiye mu gisirikare ibyo byagiye ku ruhande azigera agira umuryango se kwa ba Kagame bo abamukundiye barashaka bakabyara uyu mwana we azigera agira umuryango ese Kagame ntibishoboka ko yafata amafaranga ahembwa nk'umukuru w'igihugu n'abana bakabashakira akazi keza ariko ibyakabaye bihabwa rubanda bikabe bya rubanda akabyihorera ni ibintu bibabaje cyane rero igihugu kirimo miliyoni 14 nanzura host kugira n'abandi bafata ijambo igihugu kirimo miliyoni 14 birababaje cyane kuba abantu 9 bonyine aribo beneficiaries kandi uko byakabaye bimera ari uko beneficiaries ari abene gihugu unyemerere nsoreza aho ngaho host urakoze
urakoze cyane Metero Rusagara wa mugani birababaje cyane kwica ubuzima bw'abana kwica ubuzima bw'abantu uvuga ngo baragutoye 100% rwose ugasanga ahubwo abiciye future yabo abiciye ejo habo hazaza abahombesheje ibintu byinshi nk'uyu wa mwabwa n'umwana niba atanabyaye nateze kuzabyara cyangwa no kurongora kireka ko ngo nimugira amahirwe aba n'abanyarwanda bose abashyize mu buretwa biteye ubwoba, bose babaye ni slaves b'iyi ngoma ya Kagame, ariko ubwo nta kundi beneficiaries babavuze ni bariya. Abanyarwanda nibafunguka amaso barebe bumva inama wagiriye. Rero mbere yo kugira ngo dukurikizeho, reka nakire Andrew Mushambo agira icyo atubwira. Andrew, ijambo ni ryawe.
Yeah, thank you, host. I thank also Mr. Rusagara, who gave us a good introduction, and all friends present today in this discussion. Today's topic, Rwanda today, victims of Kagame's rule versus beneficiaries. For my comment, allow me to start with a story of a certain Nikolai Rubachev. That man, and the same story, we know it in a novel, in a book titled Darkness at Noon by Arthur Koestler. This story is just talking about dictatorship, is talking about persecution in Eastern Europe, especially in the Soviet Union of Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin, who was the Secretary General of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union from 1922 to 1953, and who was whom we call, they used to call the premier of the Soviet Union, the #1 of the Soviet Union from 1941 to 1953. The author here, Arthur Koestler, is showing us a society that, while claiming to be bright, utopian noon, is actually plunged into total darkness and the cruelty society. That is why the title of this book was Darkness at Noon. It is dark when it is noon. The society, the regime on power was teaching, showing people that the policies and the programs are in a society which is claiming to be bright, but in practice, it was a dictatorship. It was an oppressive regime. This novel of Arthur Koestler uses contrasting characters and the settings to explore themes of ideological shifts, the nature of truth and confession, the loss of individual conscience, and the betrayal inherent in totalitarian regimes. From this author, the setting, particularly the oppressive prison, symbolizes the psychological and physical constraints of such a system, while characters like the harsh interrogator here, who was responsible for the crimes of this Nikolai Rubachev. He has his former comrade in this regime. They used to call them the Bolsheviks, or comrades, or people involved in that revolution. They used to call them the Bolsheviks. So Nikolai Rubachev was a former comrade, a former Bolsheviks in this regime. And the person who was responsible to interrogate him was his former comrade, his former friend. But with him, we have another man who was very dangerous and who was having orders from the number one. The person whom they used to call number one was just this Joseph Stalin. So he ordered Ivanov to persecute his old friend Nikolai Rubachev. And who was Nikolai Rubachev? The protagonist Nikolai Rubachev, a former political commissar who represents the older generation of these people I talked about, the Bolsheviks, who are purged by the system they helped to build. His interrogation becomes a philosophical battleground over the past and the future of the regime, of the revolution. The revolution by this group of people, and on the head of this group was Joseph Stalin. Nikolai Rubachev, a former comrade on the struggle in the revolution, here is persecuted, but we can ask ourselves, what were crimes against this comrade, this former comrade? They accused Nikolai Rubachev fabricated the treasonous acts that he's plotting to murder number one. Number one here is Joseph Stalin. It was just the way of number one to for purge trials. These purge trials aimed to eliminate politically the opposition in the party, in the Communist Party. Now, why did I start with this example, this story of Nikolai Rubachev when commenting on this topic of ours tonight or today, depending on where you are? Victims of Kagame's rule versus beneficiaries of this regime. Why did I start with Darkness at Noon, where old Bolshevik Nikolai Rubachev was persecuted through fabricated cases in court trials, just to eliminate him, to purge him from the system? We know as the Rwandans that the current regime we have since 30 years, now it is 30 years, it has similar persecution tools with the ones of Joseph Stalin in the Soviet Union, just in the years of 1940s, in the aftermath of World War II. You compare that time with today, that is more than 80 years, whereby the persecution tools that Stalin and his team were using, they are the similar tools we see in some dictatorships today, including ours in our country. The darkness at noon, as it is explained by this author, Arthur Koestler, represent the misery, represent the persecution that currently and for many years in the past, many Rwandans are facing, including some you think they benefit from the regime. You might think that those generals, some retired, others still active, are beneficiaries of this regime, but they are not. If you remember what you have seen recently, and in our other discussion, I don't remember the exact date, we saw a picture of generals and confusion. So these are the hostages of the regime. If we say that these are the hostages of the regime, we might think they benefit from the regime, but in reality, they are also victims of the regime, hostages of the regime. So imagine the ordinary citizen, the Rwandan citizen in the village, an ordinary man in the village, an ordinary woman in the village, what he or she is facing, the life he's living, he's in currently. If we say that even the generals we have are victims of the regime. So to me, the beneficiaries of the regime, of this regime, is the number one himself. The number one of the Soviet Union, the other time of Nikolai Gorbachev by Kosra, the number one was Joseph Stalin. The one number one today in Rwanda, we know who he is. The number one is the sole beneficiary of his own rule, his own regime in a state, in a captured state. We have seen the characteristics of a captured state. So I might conclude that since 1990 to date, we have been living in a political situation, a political environment whereby the revolution, the regime, eats or devours its children. When we say the regime or the revolution is eating or devours its children, what do we mean? We mean that the revolution or revolutions in general tend to devour or to eat their children because on the immediate, when the immediate matter, the reason of the revolution, when these readers, senior readers, or the revolution, the people involved in this revolution have completed their mission of overthrowing the president regime or the power structure. When that work is accomplished, the people involved with this struggle to overthrow the president regime, in the aftermath of this work or this mission, people start asking or questioning or seeing that they do not have identical ideas of what should be done, what should replace the regime or the structures overthrown, the structures which these people were fighting, and they have accomplished their work. But the after revolution, after the management of this period is not easy to handle. That the number one of the revolution, the one who is on the head does what Joseph Stalin did with the comrades in the struggle, starting with Nikolai Rubachev. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me say that a small group, and as Comrade Rusagara said, Kagame and his direct members or family members are the soul who benefit from the regime, from their rule. Others are just there to serve, and the end of them, you know them, you have been seeing some examples. The end of them is the prison, the end of them is assassination, the end of them is just a persecution. You see a person and you think it is a living person, but inside is a person who is like a dead person, just moving around hopelessly. That is the society we have. The society of today in 2025 compared to a society of the after World War II in 1940s. That is what we are living today. So allow me to stop my comment from here by saying that according to me, I'm not seeing another person who benefits from this rule than the number one himself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andrew Mushambo, for your insights. We really encouraged us. You brought the whole thing. Uzanye rwose amakuru nyakuri. Ubisobanuye neza cyane, uhise ugereranya na leta za Stalin, bafite Ivanov, n'abandi bantu nk'abo ngabo usanga gusa inyungu zose bazishyiraho zonyine. Gusa reka ngushimire cyane Mushambo. Reka nakire Epimaki namushobora.
Ivan,
Okay.
reka Epimaki ihanganeho gato tubanze FM.
FM, okay. FM ijambo ni ryawe. FM wava kuri mute. FM uratwumva?
Reka tumumanure Epimaki avuge.
Urakoze cyane Rusagara, wakoze Ivan kwakira iyi space, arakoze Mushambo, n'abandi mwese mwaje musa n'inyange, n'abandi mwese mwaje kwifatanya natwe muri iki kiganiro. Bwana Rusagara, wagize neza kuzana iyi subject kugira ngo hata abanyarwanda batazajya bagira ngo ntitubyibutsa ntitubivuga. Ariko iyo turimo kubivuga gutya, mu gihe wari uteruye ikiganiro, mvuge urugero nka Rudahigwa yaza akazuka ko ka mwanya agahita ajya kuri space akumva atazi amakuru yabaye na makeya. Yavuga umuntu wapfuye kera utazi Kagame uwo ari we. Yagira ngo yari umuntu usanzwe muzima watangiye kunanirana, akaba hari udukosa yakoze. Donc nkaho Kagame tutamuzi. Ntabwo mvuga ko wamwirengagije, ariko tugomba kumva perimanama mu mutwe wacu, tukumva ko Kagame ari wa muntu udasanzwe ariko mu bibi pe. Ni umuntu utegekesheje u Rwanda n'abanyarwanda urwango rufite ubukana ntigeze mbona. Uwo muntu rero ni wa wundi uvuga ati nagize ibyaga abaturage banjye barancika, nari kubica nkabamariramo umujinya. Ni wa wundi uvuga ati u Rwanda nzarusiga nk'uko narusanze twibuka neza uko yarusanze bimeze. Ni wa wundi utubwira ati ubwo mureba ubu hari maji nzakoresha ku buryo abanyamahanga bazabaruta mwebwe kandi ari mwebwe ba nyiri igihugu, mwebwe tubashake tubabure. Ni wa wundi ukoresha uko ashoboye uko ariko kose, buri ngeri yose y'umunyarwanda, urwego urwo ari rwo rwose akoresha uko ashoboye ku buryo umunyarwanda amubabaza. Donc ahangaha niho bya bindi navugaga, nkunze kuvuga ingoma ya Kagame, ubutegetsi bwe bushingiye ku kwica, kwiba, kubeshya n'ubwibone. Ubwibone harimo ubwirasi, kudaha agaciro abandi bantu, kubafata nk'inyamaswa no kwisingiza. Ibyo bintu byose akabikora aminjira mu rwango hose, nta kantu k'ubumuntu na gatoya kabamo. Nta kindi rero wamutegerezaho, ntabwo wazigera wumva ko ibyo yagiye kwiba muri Kongo yaza ngo azabigabane n'abandi. N'abo bose turi mu kuvuga b'abashumba be, ni nk'uko umuboyi yagutekera ibiryo mu rugo akumva uko bimeze, cyangwa kugira ngo akarya kugira ngo aze kubona uko ateka ibindi. Nabo abo bose ni victime. Sino ntabwo twari kubona umuntu wamufashije nka Tribera y'abatwa apfira mu mahanga, ntabwo twari kubona Rwigara amwica kuriya, akamwicira mu maboko y'umufasha we n'umwana we. Ntabwo twari kubona ba Kizito, ntitwari kubona ibyo byose. Donc kugira rero kuba twamutekerezaho ibindi kuba tutabona scenario nk'izi ngizi, tubona bariya abana bafatwa kuriya, tubonye ibindi byaba ari ibitangaza. Tubonye bahembwa neza, tubonye ajya kwiba muri Kongo akaza agasaguriraho Abanyarwanda. Abanyarwanda ntabwo ari inshingano ze. Abanyarwanda ni igikoresho cyo kugira ngo abone uko yiba, cyo kugira ngo abone uko yifata nk'Imana. Uriya mwana rero kimwe n'abandi basoda bose uko namubonye, sinzi Bwana Rusagara na Ivan niba mwarayigeze mubona umuntu urobesha indobani ya yindi yo ku mugozi, hari akantu bashyira ku musimari uhera inyuma kuri uwo mugozi, uwo musimari uri buze gufata mu kanwa k'ifi, aho ngaho bashyiraho icyo bita apa, akantu ko kugira ngo ifi ze igakurikiye. Akenshi bikunda kuba ari foromaje, ariko mu cyaro no mu baturage akenshi bikunze kuba ari iminyorogoto. Bariya abana rero bameze nk'iminyorogoto ushyira ku ndobani ukajya gufata ifi. Ifi ni zahabu, ifi ni koruta. Uwo munyorogoto washyize ku ntuza ku ndobani urapfa, ntabwo uzigera ubenefitiya, ntabwo byakunda. N'aba bana rero baba beneficiaries, abo bana ba Kagame bahari, ntabwo bakwirwa bagira impuhwe za wa munyorogoto bashyize ku ndobani bagiye kuroba ifi bari buze kurya. Ntabwo bibareba. Uko umurobyi atita kuri uwo munyorogoto, niko Kagame atita kuri aba basoda. Ntacyo bimubwiye. Icyangombwa ni uko amafi aza kuboneka, kandi akaba ya family gusa. Ntabwo ari bufate iyo fi yapfuye yarangije gufata ngo noneho namara kuyiteka cyangwa namara kuyotsa aze kujyana ubuvungukira bumwe agenda bushyire aho wa munyorogoto waturutse, kugira ngo n'indi minyorogoto ize kuryaho nibura yumva uko iyo fi yabaye aho wa mwana wabo yagiye. Oya, ni uko nguko abifata mu mutwe. Uko umurobyi adafite imbabazi z'uwo munyorogoto, niko Kagame adafite impuhwe za bariya bana bajya kuzana koruta. Icyangombwa ni koruta, abapfa bose si ikibazo. Naho wewe wahoze uvuga uti sinzi beneficiaire cyangwa ntuza beneficiaire cyangwa victim icyo ari cyo. Ushatse kubivuga neza nk'uko wari wabitangiye, ni abari ku mbehe n'abari ku ngoyi, abari ku mbehe y'ingoma n'abari ku ngoyi y'ingoma. Aho niho victime na beneficiaire batandukanira. Abari ku mbehe y'ingoma n'abari ku ngoyi y'ingoma. Buri munyarwanda wese uhereye kuri bariya bajeno twabonye bambaye amapantaro ugira ngo bayitumyemo, nubwo abakoresha ibyo byose nabo ni abavigitime samuhawe, mwakunze kubivuga mubyerekana, ariko ntabwo ari abavigitime kimwe n'uriya mwana wafashwe kuriya. Nta mujenerali twari twabona wafashwe, wenda hagize ufatwamo ngira ngo wenda icyo bakwibwira. Ariko rero kwitega ko hari icyo Kagame ashobora guhindura, oya, ni ducire birarura, ni twisure cyangwa twisuganye nk'abagabo, tuvuge tuti ntago dukwiye kwemera kuba iyo minyorogoto, dukwiye kwemera kumera nk'igikeri kigonga kizizi inka nk'igikandagiye, nta kindi cyavuga, kiravuga kiti nyamahembe ndazira iki, nta kindi. Ibyo rero nk'abantu uko yaremwe niko twaremwe, aka kazi turimo n'abandi bari bakwiye kutujoyininga kugira ngo tuvane abanyarwanda mu kaga, tubavaneho igisuzuguriro, tubavaneho iyi miliyasiyo iteye ubwoba. Ndumva aricyo navuga. Urakoze Bwana Rusagara.
urakoze cyane ipimaki namushobora, reka ngushimire. Rero reka twakire Ali Abdukarimu, bisobanura ijambo ni ryawe. Ali uratwumva? This one uratwumva?
Ndakumva.
Okay.
Yes, Ivan.
Ijambo ni ryawe. Ndakumva.
Urakoze cyane Ivan. Ndabashuje rero kandi ubu ntago nzi iba nanjye mvuge mu Cyongereza kugira ngo duharire comrade Andrew we kuvuga Icyongereza wenyine. Ko turashaka ngo mvuge mu rurimi ki?
Wabivanga byose bikorohera.
Okay. So, mwakoze cyane, ndabashimiye cyane kuba mwateguye kino kiganiro. Ibiganiro bikeneye kuganirwa kugira ngo turebe nk'abashyira ku minzani, gushyira ku minzani no gushyira kuri scale. Ukareba uruhande rumwe abungukira niyo kubenefitinga, abungukira mu gutegeka kwa Kagame cyangwa mu Rwanda rwa Kagame rwa none, n'abahomberamo cyangwa se abarenganiramo. Ubwo ngubwo rero ngewe ntatinze ndashaka ngo tubanze turebe ubundi iyo leta ibayeho cyangwa nk'iyo gihugu kiriho, ubundi gikwiriye kuba kiberaho bande, cyungukira bande, abarengana bakwiriye kubaho. Mu by'ukuri ntabwo bakwiriye kubaho, niyo mpamvu leta ajya hariya akaba amatora, agakoresha agasaba amajwi, akabwira abantu ibyo azabakorera, akabizeza ibyo azagira, hanyuma bagakora mu Cyongereza icyo bita social contract. Iyo social contract bayita social contract kuko ni ikintu muba mwemeranyije mu rwego rwa sosiyali nyine, abantu abenegihugu n'umuyobozi w'igihugu cyangwa se n'abagiye kuyobora icyo gihugu. Bakababwira muti nimuyobore kumara iki gihe, babijeje ngo bazabaha ibyo bita manifesto, bavuze bati tuzabakora ibi, bagatoranyamo abo babona ngo nibo bazabakora ibyo bumva bashaka. Hasigaye iyo batabikoze cyangwa iyo barimo gukora, barabaza bati mwatwijeje ibi biri hehe? Igihe cya Habyarimana nibyo mwumvaga abatwa bavugaga ngo Habyarimana bijeje amabati ari he? Y'amabati yaheze. Ariko nk'ubu ngubu ndashaka mbabaza, nka Kagame umuntu yamubaza ngo yijeje icyo abantu? Ntacyo. So Kagame mu itangiriro niho byapfiriye. Byakabaye ngo agire contract n'abantu n'abaturage b'u Rwanda, ntayo yagize. Ahubwo ibintu by'u Rwanda byose yabigize ibye. Iyo Kagame yibye avuga yuko ari u Rwanda rwibye. Iyo Kagame yafashwe avuga yuko bafasha abanyarwanda. Iyo Kagame agize umwamagana avuga yuko barimo kwamagana u Rwanda.
ariko iyo arimo kunguka abenefitinga nyine nk'uko metere Rusagara mushimire cyane ibyo yavuze biriya, ariko nka Bertrand we uriya ngoma we numvanye ntamushyiramo kuko nashwana n'umukobwa bazamwirenza, ibyo ni garanti, ni given. N'abo bandi bariya bashumba bagaragira Kagame nabo muzi yuko ni matter of time, bariya bantu nkaba hatarise koko nibatitonda no gushwana nawe gatoya bakabirenza. Eugene Gasana se yamukoreye bikeya, ntiyamureraga abana, ariko se ntiyamwirengeje akanamushyira no agashaka yuko banamufata, Interpol mufata, agashaka yuko Amerika abura amahoro, agatuma n'abajya kumugera se Amerika yamuhoninze. Kagame ba victim be, ntabwo ushaka ngo abantu barebe victim mu bukire gusa cyangwa mu mafaranga gusa. Murebe abuzuye magereza, murebe abantu ba Kangondo basenyeye, abo ni abaturage. Akwiriye kuba afite social contract nabo yo kuvuga ngo zabakorera, aho kubakorera ahubwo arabasenyera. Hari abandi mwibagiwe ba benefitingira muri Rwanda rwa Kagame, abanyamahanga. Nje niyo mpamvu Kagame mwita mwanga babo. Kagame does not and has never served Rwandans. He serves himself and his immediate family, and then so-called friends, who I cannot call friends, but people he tries to beseech so that they can whitewash his name. He has on several times shown that he's not a Rwandan anymore. At one time, you all know, when he called Rwandans that they are useless, they are before Bagani in Rwanda. Before Bagani means something that is that can be squeezed, that
like
is
spineless.
Exactly, he said they are spineless. He regretted being a Munyarwanda. It is on public record. Actually, if I had known about this topic, I would have played it for you. So Kagame disowned Rwandans. He regrets being a Rwandan. If he had his way, he would be either a white American, or a white British, or I don't know, but not Rwandan. It's on record. So the victims of Kagame are all Rwandans. Even his generals, who he sends to go and fight, they fight. When they finish, when he no longer needs them, you know what he does to them? You all know what he did to our hero, Colonel Patrick Karegeya. He followed him and killed him. You know what he did to what he was trying to do to General Kayumba Nyamwasa? He sent squads to go and kill him. They tried his life more than 4 times. He has a bullet in his back. I mean, General Kayumba Nyamwasa. So for Kagame, he wants him dead. But you all know how Kayumba served that country. But now he's a victim of Kagame's Rwanda of today. Let's see a person like Victor Ingabire, someone who wants to contribute into nation building, who wants to contribute in promoting democracy, where I'm talking about social contract, where there are leaders who come and beg, and present or offer what they're going to do to the citizens. Then they choose that, oh, this is one we want, who is going to do this. That's what Victor is, why Victor is in jail. Kagame can never dare offer anything to Rwandans. He will only come and say, oh, we are developing, development. Development in what sense? A development that does not, you don't feel, a development that does not put food on your table. You go hungry. You don't have where to sleep. You're not sure of tomorrow. That is no development. A doctored development where they lie Rwandans, where they force them to make fake smiles just for the visitors or for the public is no development, and he has let down Rwandans. So to me, to understand this topic or subject very well, it is first of all to identify what is expected of Kagame in regards to what he offers Rwandans or what he does for Rwandans. If he doesn't offer security for them and they are insecure, and we know that every government, their first obligation is to provide security of property, security of life, security of health, security even security of old age for pension. That's the role of a government. If Kagame's government can't offer that simple first obligation of every government, then every Rwandan is a victim, apart, of course, from his family. Because if his family, he has already embezzled everything. Actually, everything in Rwanda belongs to Kagame. See when Kagame moves, even within Rwanda itself, you'll see moving with so many vehicles. He changes vehicles like these celebrities, even more than celebrities. One time you'll find him in a top of the range Audi. Another time you'll find him in a top of the Range Rover, and not only one, a fleet of them. You'll find him in any new car that comes. You'll find Kagame with it. But what do others have? Even his ministers, they have a car they own for 4 years on loan, apparently. Is it 4 years or one term of parliament? Then they have to repay it. But also, if you go to follow, to analyze it, he's making money because he's the one who has sold them those cars. They have to get a loan, pay his son's business who imports the cars, then they buy those cars, and then after 4 or 5 years, they have to renew and buy other new cars. That's how he does. It's all about him gaining. It's not about that he's helping them. Let's see the issue of these roads being tiled, the pavements and whatnot. Who benefits from paving the side roads? I'm sure most Rwandans don't know. Me, I know because I know how it started. It was the business of Kagame's wife to start paving roads. And when they saw that they were benefiting, because of course they put very high prices or cost for paving roads, and when they benefited, they decided that let's now do the whole everything. So everyone sees that, oh, Rwanda, the city of Kigali is very clean. There are pavers everywhere, but they don't understand what the sham or the 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 scam that is behind all that. It's not bad to have clean city, to have pavers on side roads, or to have clean walking areas. But when there is a scam behind them, that should be revealed, and that all that glitter becomes inconceivable. All that glitter becomes useless, in my view. Rwanda today is in billions of debts, all to do with those things, small things that add up, and you find the country is now indebted to World Bank, to IMF, to other financial institutions, and even individuals. because you all know that they sell bonds. But where does the money go? It goes to Kagame's family and a few of his friends. Uh, but who is going to pay? It is the Rwandans. That debt will be paid by Rwandans. Kagame will go, but the debt will remain. That ballooning debt will go on the heads of Rwandans. So in short, he has not only benefited, but he has mortgaged Rwanda, the country. And Rwandans are going to suffer. Because I don't know if you all know, I'm not an economist, but I hear the debate, even we are having it in UK here. Once the country is heavily indebted, the interest rate running those paying the servicing the debt in terms of its interest rate is so high such that you have to forego certain other services in order to do what? In order to service that debt. But the beneficiary, the person who benefits, who benefited from the money that came, that was not invested properly, is Kagame and his family. I've given an example of those paved side roads. I'll give you another example. The money that was given to Rwanda for AIDS, HIV. I'm sure you all know today that Dr. Gasakure and Dr. Charles Murego are victims of the aid HIV money. Money that they themselves, being that they were doctors, one was a cardiologist, another was an orthopedic surgeon who studied and lived outside. Gasakure lived in France. Dr. Murego lived in Italy. When the struggle began, they came, the struggle of RPF, they came and gave everything in terms of time, in terms of treating the patients, in terms of doing what. I remember Dr. Charles Murego. I remember in Uganda, he would work from Monday, and then Friday afternoon, he would leave to go to where the RPF were, RPA by then, to go and treat them over the weekend, throughout the weekend. They will tell you stories that he used to do surgeries on a candle and sometimes they boil their stuff on a stove. But he did anyway. He helped. After the war, him and Gasakure, they saw many Rwandan RPA soldiers were dying of AIDS, HIV. And of course, that was among also a big thing within the Rwandan population. They took it upon themselves. Say, what do we do? And they moved around the world, going to South Africa. You all remember that was the time Nelson Mandela was also fighting that they do generic medicines. They looked for money, and they benefited from all that try and pushing and whatnot. Is what made Bush Jr., President Bush, to put what they call PEFRA, that money that went up to billions into supporting the AIDS. Of course, Rwanda was benefiting. That's how Bill Gates came to also support and help. Of course, for Kagame, you just do something or introduce someone or and Kagame will take away the person. So Bill Gates comes, and people would see him, Kagame taking pictures with Bill Gates, and they think it is Kagame who found Bill Gates. No, it was these people. But what I'm driving to is what? What happens? These people, for them, they were working to serve Rwandans. When I mean these people, I mean Dr. Gasakure and Dr. Charles Murego. But there was some other person in Nyiramongi, Kagame's wife, and using the then someone who became health minister, Binagwao, who wanted to control that money, and you know what control means, to embezzle those funds that were coming from Bill Gates, from Global Fund, from that Bush money I've told you for AIDS, and they said no, we have to use this money for this. We have to use the money for the patients. This is a serious scourge. We have to fight hard and make sure that our people are what? Get proper medicine. With AIDS, if you start on medication and you stop it, then it is a bigger problem than not starting at all. But Mrs. Kagame, for him, what she wanted was the money. She was not interested in that. She was interested in controlling. Some people don't know why Binagwa was made Minister of Health. That was exactly because they saw that, oh, there is money here, so let's make her the Minister of Health, and we are able to control. And you all know that was during that Binagwa's being Minister of Health that Dr. Gasakure was killed. He was shot in cold blood under the orders of Kagame through Jack Nziza, and Dr. Gasakure was shot in the office of Directorate of Military Intelligence by then, by Franco Rutajengwa, who is I think now he's in the military training wing. He was ordered to kill him. He killed him. Charles Murego was conned into going for training and whatnot, and he was killed in a sham accident. Imagine a doctor sitting behind, he's killed, but the driver survives. Say that a tree fell in the middle of the road, and they came at high speed and hit that tree. So I'm telling you this thing so that you know the victims. Every Rwandan is a victim apart from, of course, the family and other new Rwandans Kagame has brought, like the guy who is in the director of policy in his office, that American Monroe, Monroe, whatever, the Italian American, and these others you see, he's giving land. The Ujiri is this Nigerian of Toronto Raptors, and many others. So we cannot say this and live without giving what we think should be done. We in Rwanda National Congress, RNC, we made sense and made of what is happening, and that's why we stood up and said, no, this has to stop. This has to stop because Rwanda is for Rwandans. Rwanda is not for only one family. The moment we agree this has to stop, we say the only way this can stop is through peaceful means. Because normally when you are changing a government, there are 4 ways you can change a government. The first one is through voting or elections. That's the most peaceful. The second, through negotiating with that government to say you are failing or you have these excesses, please go aside. That is also a bit better. The other one is by people uprising and forcing the government to go, like they did in Burkina Faso. Blaise Compaoré, you know how his citizens rose up and he ran. They did in Sudan. Then lastly, it is by use of force, arms. In Rwanda, we have used arms to remove a government in the name of the government of Kayibanda. The resulting Habyarimana removed Kayibanda by force. The resulting thing was many Rwandans were killed. You know the issue of Chiga and Induga. It resulted in a hatred that up to now still exists. Then there was the RPF removing Habyarimana. That one is still ongoing, and you know it. To the extent that even people like us who were in RPF at one time and left it, people still don't want us to say that we were in RPF. They want us to deny our right, not because they know what they are doing, but because that's how deep the hatred is. Anything RPF is supposed to be bad. You should not say it. I know RPF is bad, but there are some other good things that were in RPF at the beginning. But now there is no RPF. There's only one beneficiary. You also those generals who sing of praise about RPF, who talk about, but you see how they looked. Tell me if those people really are happy. But anyway, that aside, so we chose to change in peaceful means and join arms with every Rwandan that is willing to change. At our inception, we engaged FD Nyingi, which was already opposing and working. It was already existing. We engaged them. We joined them. Then we joined the Amahoro People's Congress. Then PS Mberakuri. Then PDP Manzi. PDP Manzi, as you all know, dissolved because its president or its leader is in jail, and they were given a lie, or they condemned that, oh, if you get away from P5, then we shall release it is a precondition for the pardoning of the Shahidi, which never came. Anyway, so there are many ways of having those peaceful changes. Rwandans are not used to that. As I have said, we have had two violent changes, actually not two, because there was the Ruchunchu one also in our history. There was the Ruchunchu one, which was very violent also. Then there was the Kaibanda, very violent. Then there was the Habyarimana, the most violent. Then now, we cannot afford, because whenever there is violence, we have created dictators. The change in 59 of removing the kingdom, there was violent. You know, 59, what happened? It was just a matter of time. And Kaibanda, at one time, had his 8 of his ministers coming from only one small area of Rwanda, forgetting the others. So you create a clique. Through this forceful change, cliques are created. So we thought hard, we sensed hard, we discussed a lot, and have engaged friends, and we have agreed we have to change through peaceful means. And through peaceful means, we mean we sit and have a very broad-based Rwandan high-level dialogue, where we design a new Rwanda, where these things I'm talking about of having social contract with the citizens is put down, and everybody accepts to it. Then we go with it in that form. The way the Americans put their constitution, you always hear the Americans saying this. The founding fathers put this constitution. I hope during that highly
muba mwikina kuri space, muba mwikina ntacyo muzashobora, mwikina kuri space ngo babumve.
Yeah. Who is this one? If your heart, please go and hang. You know, I'm sorry, I will use that word. If you feel your heart, then go and hang, or or create another space for yourself. We here we are saying what we see, and we can prove it. If you deny that Kagame didn't kill Dr. Gasakure, then what happened, Dr. Gasakure? Where is he? If you deny that Kagame didn't kill Dr. Charles Murego, then where is what happened to where is he? If you deny that Kagame didn't order the killing of Patrick Karegeya, then what happened? If you deny that Kagame didn't order the killing of Gigara, then what happened? Where is Chiza? Lieutenant Colonel Chiza? I can ask very many. Today, you guys to see that you are really mean. Every Rwandan is a victim. You are even denying people to bury their dead. How can how can Rwandans deny that someone should be buried? Even if someone has wronged you so bad, so terrible, like what? Two wrongs never make a right. If someone was wrong and he is dead, you say, okay, now it is God. God will decide. It is God's case now. But you still don't want that person to be buried? And this fool comes and says, we are kidding here on space. We're not kidding, of course. And this is what I'm saying when interrupted, what I was saying. Through peaceful means, we are going to change that Rwanda, and we change it with all Rwandans, and we make a social contract now, a social contract, and put together a design of Rwanda we need, we all agree on as Rwandans, and move forward with guarantors and people are going to guarantee it, so that this a few people benefiting from the whole country's resources or means, and the majority of Rwandans or all the other Rwandans being victims. That's the only way it can stop. We believe in it, and we know it is going to work. We are working towards it, and slowly, the world is waking up to that fact. They are understanding it. Now, wherever you go, everyone understands that Kagame is a con. Kagame is a disaster, not only for Rwanda, but for the region and for Africa at large. And everybody knows that Kagame is a serial killer. He's a liar. He's the most corrupt. And he doesn't keep to his word. If everybody starts understanding this, because we engage many people, be it policymakers and be it normal people, they are all seeing this, and it is only Rwandans, few Rwandans, by the way, who don't believe that change is imminent and change will happen. But we want this change in a peaceful way, we want this change in a way that we have a sustainable change, and Rwanda where all Rwandans are beneficiaries of the goods of Rwanda, the resources of Rwanda, and no Rwandan is a victim. I rest my case, Ivan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Viswan. I really thank you so much. Thank you. We were having this topic said Rwandans today are victims of Kagame's rules versus beneficiaries. Really, I would thank you so much. I think it's like you say it's like if I could quote you right, it was like you're trying to say that Kagame was telling Rwandans to tighten their belts so he can untie his own belt, so Rwandans can tighten their belt, can starve, can go to war, can go to Congo, can be captured, their lives can be ruined.
Ivan, if I interrupt you a bit, you know, we have talked about Rwandans dying in Congo, and for him, he's not dying. I didn't want to touch that. I really wanted to today to just touch on to be specific on that all Rwandans are victims. Every Rwandan,
of course.
Even Kabarebe is a victim.
Yeah, exactly. Meteo Sagara.
Because to show that Kabarebe is a victim, the wife, you remember the wife had gone to Canada. She happened to go to the wedding of their son, Kabarebe's son, her step son, Yaruhanga. And since then, they said she can never go back to Canada. Can you imagine? Isn't that a victim? If you cannot live where you want, if you cannot travel, if you cannot, wherever you want to go, those are victims. They are victims. And for me, I didn't want to spend time on what we say daily, so I wanted to insist on showing that the only beneficiary is Kagame. It is only Kagame who can go whenever he wants and to wherever he wants to go. When his children are passing out or finishing a school and graduates abroad, he can go. He doesn't need permission from anyone. His son can go anywhere he wants with those private jets, but others can never go. I know of 2 generals who wanted to go and attend graduation of their children. They were denied. And you tell me these people are not victims? They're serious victims. You all know of Ibinjira. When the wife was about to board a plane, and they took away the passport and told her, no, you are not going. That's a common knowledge to everyone. So you tell me that's not a victim? Rwandans are victims. I told you how Ibinjira had he gave his son some money from his account, and the son transferred the money to Dubai, to a Dubai account. And Ibinjira was asked, oh, so you have transferred the money to Dubai. Why have you transferred that money? So it shows you they're tracking him. Imagine tracking a general about his money, intimidating a 4-star general. Those are all victims. But of course, through trauma bonding, they come across like everything is okay, or they are not. They are not. And their body language the other day in front of Kagame showed you what it is. So I didn't want to dwell on what our daily bread, if I call daily bread, because that's what we see daily.
No, your point was hard. I had your point completely clear, loud and clear. But it was about, I was just trying to summarize that. That's the whole thing. Yeah, because we are, as you said, we know completely, definitely, all Rwandans are victims, and only the few chosen ones, which is his own family. And Metro Sagara even pointed that, and there are even some few who are just taking a bit. Batwara utunagiro mbega ko utuntu Kagame yahaze bakaba batoragura, ariko otherwise uko ubyuvuze ni ukuri, all Rwandans are victims. Kuko niba ujya kubona bakohereza abasirikare kujya mu murima wa generali, bagatema ihene ze, bagatema amatungo ye, ntavuge, akibwiriza akazi icyo avuga. Umugore bakamwaka pasiporo agiye kugenda ku airport, abayimwatse n'ubwana bw'ubukobwa buri aho ngaho kuko bwategetswe, ariko generali we akibwiriza, ureba n'agahinda. So tuvuze iby'u Rwanda n'ibyo, ariko rero birababaza no kureba abana b'Abanyarwanda, umwana arimo ntiyarazi wenda yajya, ariko gusa yagiye uko bamubwiye, ubu ari hariya, ariko bazagira bamwihakane. Abo bishe nta nubwo babwira umuryango wabo ngo bajye kubashyingura mu cyubahiro. Gusa abantu barabura. U Rwanda ntabwo ruri mu ntambara, nta ntambara iri mu Rwanda, ntayo bari babona. Ibyo byo bitabaje buri munyarwanda ari we wese, n'abari ba generali. Gusa ikibabaje nuko nabo igihe, kuko nta kintu, ntabwo Kagame azabaho iteka ryose, gusa ku gihe cy'urubanza, kuko tuzi ko twese umunsi w'urubanza ubaho. Bariya banazi baragiye bashaka kugira ngo bice abajuwishi, mbega bakanabyigamba cyane, bahitira rwose ati, bakazajya no kuvuga mu Burayi ngo abaju ntabwo, ngo reka turebe ukuntu twabica, bakuba kampsi zo kugira ngo babice, rwose bakanabyigamba, bakumva ko ari ibintu byiza, ariko umunsi urubanza umaze kugera bariyahuye. None n'intera mu munsi bakoraga bariyeri baririmba ngo tuzabatsembatsemba, tuzabagira, bakatera n'indirimbo zindi ngo Imana iraduhorera uyu munsi, none Imana. Ariko umunsi w'urubanza ugeze, bose barayinagira, bamwe ntibazi baguye mu mashyamba. Rero abantu batarimo kureba ejo hazaza h'u Rwanda, bakibasira umuntu umwe, ugasanga kandi n'abari ba victim b'uwo muntu, usanga ni ibintu bibabaje cyane ku Banyarwanda. kuko ngira abantu biri nigeze kubwira rimwe nshaka kugira ngo wenda mvuge ariko buriya interahamwe abantu bisi interahamwe hari igihe gusa wenda umuntu ashaka kujya kuko bari bafite leta ibategeka bakavuga ngo uyu munsi wishe abatutsi bangahe wenda akavuga ati nishe abatutsi 20 ubwo bakamuha igihembo nishe bati wishe abantu bangana bate noneho ugasanga arahemberwa ko yishe abantu ariko umunsi w'urubanza umaze kugera noneho we ahubwo babandi bamutumaga bo bigira i Burayi aba bandi basigara hariya ugasanga n'abana babo muvumo bagiyeho n'abuzukuru ugasanga n'abangabo umunsi umwe uzajya intore se mwebwe ugasanga nabo batangiye kwihakana ibyaha bakoze kandi buri munsi murahanga muhora mubabwira ngo mwakwanze ibyo wa mugani bano basirikare bose bari kugenda bagiye bakwitanga muri Kongo ko wenda na Kongo yabatabara umunsi igihe cya Kagame cyamara kugira ubusambo bwe butagihari bakazataha iwabo ari amahoro nawe se kujya gutanga fatayiro nuza ifumbire muri Kongo bizbamariye iki kandi ubwo nta n'ikintu na kimwe bubyungukira umuryango urumva rero ni ibintu bibabaje cyane kandi n'abajenerali bose barebye ukuntu babatumiye hariya iyo bibeshya ntibahazi Kagame akabara abana bagasana bahari abo ngabo uko Kagame badashaka kureba nibo nkabaruraye ntashaka kubareba baramunukira nkaba abo bose bo yaranabaretse nubwo ariko abo yashakaga bari hari kandi n'inama bakoze yo kugira ngo bajye gutera i Burundi nabo baravuze ngo rwose nabo baremera nk'abayibingiye bati rwose ubu ngubu on top y'ibyo babakorera so wumva ni agahinda k'abanyarwanda ni agahinda kacu twese rero banyarwandakazi mureke dusoze kino kiganiro twagize igihe kira numva mwese ngira ngo mwiniguye cyangwa abarimo kumva murumva murareba akaga turi mu ntambara tutazi tutwumva ukwiye kumva ko bene bacu abana bacu babuze bene bacu batubuzeho ariko hari umuntu we arabwira abanyarwanda ngo bifunge imikandara ariko we akawurekura akinigura n'agakiya k'u Rwanda rusigaranye akagatwara so ugasanga ni ibintu bibabaje cyane ku banyarwanda n'abanyarwandakazi rwose reka rero kandi dusoze ubu ngubu ugusongera tubonane mu kindi gihe twatuguye indi space reka mbareka mugire umugoroba mwiza mugire umunsi mwiza ubwo tuzatumira ku kindi gihe kizaza murakoze cyane mugire ijoro ryiza ngaho bye